Welcome to Between Two Clinicians, the podcast that gives you a backstage pass into the mind of two therapists. I'm Talia.
I'm Adam Luke. We've spent years helping others navigate the complexities of their minds and relationships.
In this podcast, we're flipping the script, and we're sharing our own unfiltered insights. No topic is off limits, and no issue too taboo. We're ready to tackle the tough stuff with honesty and empathy. Let's dive in. Welcome back, everyone.
Hello.
It's 2026 where this is landing. It's actually, we're recording it the final few days of the previous year. And if you're into any of those kinds of woo-woo calendars, I think this was the year of the snake, and it's the end of a 9-year cycle where people are shedding old patterns and habits. And then next year is the year of the horse. So it's kind of like this year walked and shed so the next year can run and you can be your better self. So it starts around mid-February technically. So you want to clean up shop with all of your habits and everything else in the beginning of the year. Otherwise, you're going to be stuck in another 9-year cycle. So this episode is dedicated to anybody who wants to actually not like keep New Year's resolutions, but make an actual fresh start of your new year and make sure that it is different in the ways that you want it to be from your previous year, and any of the ways that you do like or that you want to continue, how to maintain that progress. So it's going to be a bit more of a quick, hard-hitting how to ensure the growth that you want to keep having, and then truly shed and leave all of the other stuff in the past and leave it in the previous, light, whether you're looking at it as like the previous decade of your life, because some people hit milestone birthdays, how to make sure that you're going into the new year with a fresh outlook and only growth, only good things moving forward. So
yeah, I mean, I think the blessing of the last year is we've had some quite insightful conversations. Some solid content has come out. The trouble with that is that we have these moments of introspection and insightfulness, and then nothing really manifests from them.
Yeah.
And so this episode is more about the actual brass tacks of getting down to this is how we have movement.
Yes.
The other thing that I just throw out, I think a lot of times when we have New Year's things we want, we don't reach them because they were actually bullcrap things to begin with.
They're not SMART goals. Yeah. So SMART
they're not really well identified. We're just like, I'd like to lose weight, but we don't actually define what we mean by
so in therapy, not to cut you off, but I want to make sure I support what you're saying, because some listeners might be like, well, I did think of a SMART. We're not talking about SMART like intelligent. SMART goals is an acronym: specific, measurable, achievable or attainable, realistic, and time-oriented / sensitive. So unless your goal, weight loss is a great example, right? Or quitting something or starting something, in some sense, is most people's goals. It has to be a SMART goal. It has to be a specific, and maybe we'll just go with weight loss. Maybe it isn't specific in terms of I want to lose 50 pounds. Maybe it is, but maybe it's I want to feel better in my clothes, kind of subjective. Be honest with yourself about how much do you think you would like to lose. We're not trying to cause eating disorders here. But let's say 10 pounds. That's realistic for most people. So specific, I would like to lose 10 pounds by June. So a 6-month lead time. That's time-oriented. Is it achievable for you? Have you ever done this in the history of your life? Or do you have the support systems in place to create it? And then something measurable. For that, you have to have ideally like a workout. I would recommend working out, not just food, for other health reasons for weight loss. But you'd have to have a scale, or you'd have to have a pair of clothing that you would eventually like to fit better into.
Correct.
So that would be something measurable. So you can almost throw any example out at either of us, and that's how we would filter it. You don't need a therapist for that, but think of any goal that you want and run it through the SMART framework. And that will help you to understand, okay, this is actually achievable, but where some goals fall flat, this is achievable, but not within the constraints that I've placed on the time or on the measurability of it. But mostly it's a problem in the equation of it's achievable, but not in the time limit that you set, or it's not realistic at all in the time limit that you set. So I wanted to make a side note of that.
Absolutely.
if you have too nebulous of goals, you will not be achieving them in any
No,
year, new or old, because you did not
correct.
do the due diligence of creating a plan. You had a wish, which is what you were talking about before we started recording. I'd love to hear more about that from you.
Yeah, I mean, the mantra that I'm sort of rolling with right now in my life, I've started it in these last 2 weeks, is what I won't do today, I won't do tomorrow.
Mm,
And, like, that's helping me sort
mm,
of build momentum even though we're 3 days away from the new year. Sort
mhm.
of got a gut check from, an individual on, why are you waiting till the new year to make a change in your life, right? And there's always these, like, well, it makes sense and it's the busyness of the holidays. It's actually, that's just the fluff that we tell ourselves, the
Sure.
excuses to mask the fact that, like, actually your mental health, your physical health, like just how you interact in your whole
Yeah.
life will change greatly if you actually start slowly applying the things that you want then now.
Mhm.
And so, as I've started to step into that, believe it or not, tasks actually feel easier. Why? Because I'm not mortgaging tomorrow.
Right.
So, like, that's what we that's why January starts off like a firecracker. Like, boom, it's wonderful. It's a new year. It's so fresh. And then by like the third week in January, the stats are already there, right? Gyms become less
Yeah.
busy, like, all of a sudden people fall back into their old habits. Why? Because you actually never went to the root cause of changing your behavioral habits. You just identified something that you want. And I think something that's come out of these conversations we've had this year is recognizing a lot of times we will say we want things that we actually in action never strive to achieve.
Mhm.
Yet we then somehow reassign ourselves levels of disappointment for, again, things that we don't have any reason to feel disappointed about.
Yeah, and I think we can invite years ago, I was working with a narrative. I think she was a trainee or an associate, whatever it was. She was at a clinic, a narrative clinic, and she and I were working on whether to bring something up with a guy I was dating. And the way that we framed it was in a narrative sense of like, where do I invite disappointment into my life? So we
Mm,
externalized the problem from it being about that boyfriend that I was with at the time.
yeah,
And it was like, but why, what my accountability? Why am I inviting disappointment in? And where else am I inviting disappointment in? So the same can be true, similar can be true for the
yeah,
goals. Where are you disappointing? Where are you inviting disappointment in your life in terms of not achieving these goals? And are you so used to feeling disappointed,
yeah.
you don't bother to set yourself up for success in creating an actual achievable goal?
Mm,
I believe in part this is the case when people are used to having so many plates spinning at once and so many
absolutely.
tasks on the list. They like the busyness of an
Mm,
incomplete to-do list. It kind of feels like a comfortable chaos, if you will.
oh, yeah.
So the thought of checking everything off the list would mean, oh, I'm at peace. I not
Mm,
that I never have any growth to do. It's not that.
yeah,
It's I did all that I set out to do, which
yeah.
you're if you have ADHD or if you're neurodivergent, having those days where you get everything done and finally rest after to the point of
Mm,
exhaustion feels so good, but you can
yeah,
actually do that on a microdose level on other days, right? And the same thing with the gym.
true.
People fall off around the end of January
Mm,
because they're like way too lofty of goals. I'm going to go to the gym every day for 2 hours. Maybe set it to I'm gonna go to the gym 4 times a week for 20
mm,
minutes each, and then people's reaction is like, "Well, that's too little." Great. If I'm wrong, I love to be wrong. Let's
yeah,
start with 4 times a week at 20 minutes for a month, and then if that has stuck, let's go up from there. Or
yeah,
days, if you wanna stay longer, you don't have to leave at 20 minutes, you just have to stick
correct.
for 20 minutes. So you don't wanna invite disappointment in by
Mm,
by forcing yourself to do something you already know is not going to be adherent,
yeah,
you can't be adherent to for a long time. And you don't want to disappoint yourself in the sense of like, oh, well, the cheat meals thing is another good example. Well, I had one bad thing for breakfast, so I'll just eat like crap the rest of the day. That's a matter of willpower. It's a matter of your anterior cingulate cortex. Dr. Huberman taught the mid anterior cingulate cortex is
mhm,
a muscle, if you will, in quotes, in your brain that you can work to strengthen to actually increase your
absolutely.
willpower. That's how you push through the days you don't want to do the thing, but you do want the eventual goal. You have to have
Correct.
willpower to get there, and a lot of people do not tune in to their willpower. That's the true hack for how to make this a new year, strengthen your willpower.
Well, and one is coming to this acceptance that, like, it's complete bullshit to say that you don't have any willpower.
For yeah,
That's a narrative in which we accept complete helplessness,
victimhood.
hopelessness, victimhood,
Yeah.
where we have to recognize that even if you find yourself in a position at the start of this new year where you say, I'm not where I want to be in life, there's actually a position of ownership, not the entire thing. And people can mistreat you, things like
Yeah.
that, and things happen. But you can't say that your life was without your influence at all. It would
Mhm.
just be a good introspection point, and I would say even inflection point
Yeah.
to think, how did I start to receive things and accept them when I had the ability to reject them? So,
Mhm.
like, the other aspect of, like, when we make New Year's plans, um, those resolutions start to sometimes be put in the wrong order, right? So
Ah,
we
yeah.
can be like, oh, there's all these things that I want to do, and we start with like the boss level task. The boss level task is probably not where you need to start. If you're actually trying to gain control over your life, it starts with discipline. So it's gonna be like, can you set an alarm and wake up to it? Like, this is what I work with a lot of my anxiety clients and my depression clients of, like, we need to start waking you up to the fact that you have power and influence in your life. And one is, if you start every day out lying to yourself on what time you're going to get up, how do you expect to receive or trust anything else that you sort of encounter throughout your
Mhm.
day? So yeah, it's now waking up at 7 o'clock going, well, I could wake up at 8:30, sure. But every day you do that, you feel rushed, you feel overwhelmed, you feel this. Why not wake up early enough to sort of date yourself, right? That's when I can maybe start eating better. I can do some meal prep. I can do these things. Because then those are all the little baby steps that then add up to me taking that big step, me doing that Herculean task. If
Mhm.
you won't do the little stuff, it's going to be very difficult that all of a sudden on a Hail Mary, you completely wing the big stuff.
Mhm. And that's very true also of interpersonal relationship goals.
Mhm.
Starting out, if you are a level 10, that's not a thing, by the way, in therapy, but if you're a level 10 people pleaser, I don't think we
Level
should be
10.
starting with level 20 ease tasks, right? It's like I'm gonna ask for my food is a little, maybe this is like a level of a higher request, but hey, my food got delivered to me cold at the restaurant.
Mm,
Asking the server if they could reheat it or bring out a new one. For some would be like, I would rather die, but for others, they're like, I wouldn't love it, but I'll try it, right? Like
true.
ratcheting up your discomfort tolerance or your distress
Yeah.
tolerance of learning how to work against the behavior you're trying to not be
Oh,
anymore is
absolutely.
very true for what you're saying as well. Being able to have that wherewithal and that fortitude of I'm going to try and edge towards that rather than starting with I'm going to tell my mom what I think about her. No, we're not starting with
Mm,
the final boss of the video game. Please do not start at that. You need to practice, right? It's
true.
very rare that somebody could log into Guitar Hero, throwback to our age, and go
Yeah,
on level expert
expert
at
and
a
just
Led Zeppelin.
rip it.
Unless you're a professional guitarist, right? Like, no, musician, it's not going to happen. We need to start small. There's a
Yeah.
reason why you go for something that's the easier beginner till you feel like an expert at it. Then you go to the moderate till you feel like an expert. Then you go to expert. And then sometimes you realize, like, wow, I really thought I was, but I wasn't in
Yeah.
some life tasks. And then other things, you're like, this is why there's expertise. This is why you and I, starting years ago, even though we didn't have a great supervisor by any means, I'll leave that there. We have learned so much about business, about therapy, about podcasting, this,
Oh,
that,
yeah.
whatever else from where we started years ago. We wouldn't have the ease and everything else and systems we do
Mm-mm.
now if we had started thinking this is going to be it from the beginning. We had to work our way to this.
Oh,
You work out
absolutely.
kinks along the way. Same thing with goals. You'll work out, not the workout like at the gym, maybe though.
Mhm.
You will figure out, is the word I meant to use, phrase. You'll figure out, oh, you know what? 3 days a week at the gym is actually great, but it needs to be Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays. It can't be
Correct.
Tuesday, Wednesday. So sometimes there's needing to be fine tuning. And this is some of the best advice. It flew out of my mouth one day in a coaching session. Sometimes you don't need a new strategy, you just need more patience. You need a lot more patience for a goal to come true. Hey there, listeners. Are you tired of settling for less than you deserve in your relationships? Do you ever feel like you're not being seen, heard, or valued the way that you want? Or maybe you've been wondering why you keep attracting the same kinds of people into your life, or why certain patterns seem to repeat themselves in your relationships. The answer might be deeper than you think, and you can find it in my new course. Rewire Your Relationships is a transformative course designed to help you stop settling for less than you deserve and start embodying your most confident, assertive, and authentic self in your relationships. You'll explore how your early experiences and parental influences have shaped your views on love, dating, and self-worth. This isn't just about tips and tricks for dating. It's about understanding the core beliefs that drive your relationships that you attract. You'll learn how to break free from those old patterns and start creating the kind of connections that truly reflect who you are. Imagine stepping into a relationship with clarity and confidence, knowing you're attracting people who value and respect you for who you really are, your deeply authentic self. The Rewire Your Relationship course gives you the tools to rewrite your relationship story, one where you're no longer settling, but thriving. Visit taliabombola.com/rewireyourrelationships or check the link in the show notes for more.
What would happen if you oriented yourself to your life where you were in a state of exploration? Because that's really where we're at. It's like you've got to explore it.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're gonna go to the gym. I love it when people say like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'm gonna go 5 days a week." Perfect. Let's shoot for it. I'm not gonna poo-poo the idea. Let's shoot for it. Oh man, I was a week on, week off, week on, week off. I wonder why that was. Maybe it's that unsustainable feeling. What happens if you do 4? What happens if you do 3?
Right, right.
Oh wow, my 3 of high intensity feel better than my 5s. Awesome. But many times we won't allow ourselves to go in with curiosity and with a sense of exploration and sort of see how does this fit for myself. We love to identify good and bad,
Mm.
Pass, fail. And a
Mm.
lot of life isn't like that.
No.
We bring that structure in where it's actually more experiential. Like
Right.
you have to have the experience to know what's going on.
Yes.
But we won't allow ourselves because we have a construct of what we believe we need in that time and how it should look like.
Yeah.
So like going in, like these are the little things that you're going to have to shed as you start your new year. Like the other thing in my mind is I'm kind of switching over. I want to try something different for myself this year. Of I've been working a lot in like business psychology with
Mm.
different organizations, and I recognize it's interesting that the interventions that I use for them and the treatment planning that I use for them, and people go, "You treatment plan businesses?" But that's the phrase that I use because I'm just like I need a structure, I need a
Yes, a
roadmap.
business plan, yeah.
So when I step into it, it's interesting that we will break things down by quarter, right? But we
Mm,
don't break
mm,
things
yes.
down by quarter in our life,
We
right?
should
Like
though.
I think we
Yeah,
should. We absolutely should because I
yeah.
think that was what sort of gave me an aha moment after Thanksgiving is I had like a breakthrough with a business coaching client and I recognized like, oh holy cow, like when you said lose 10 pounds, right? Like that might not actually be a good goal for a year.
Right,
Like
right.
because that actually like there's a level of like complacency that might come into that. Like 10 pounds over a year, that I mean, that's almost a fluke. You could get the
I would
flu,
hope it's sooner than
right?
that, and if it's not, go to the doctor,
Exactly.
right? Like, that's the
Well, and
key
that's
time
that's
too, yeah.
where you've gotta start weighing, like, "Wait a
That's
second,
such a good point
I
to do it,
I
think
need
of
to
it like a
have
treatment plan.
more.
Yeah,
I need to have more than just this is what I'm going to do."
yeah,
'Cause and I think because that's also the burnout factor. I don't think it's that we, like, all of a sudden don't like going to the gym. It's just we go, "Okay, well, I've been doing it for 6 months," and then, like, naturally, you forget to graduate to, "No, it's the gym and. It's this and.
yes,
What can I continue to add on to this?" Instead of just saying, "Oh, no, the all I need is lettuce." That's not a salad. That's one thing, okay? I need
yeah,
more.
it's delicious. Yeah, it's like a little tortoise eating. Yeah, you need more though. They need carrots, they need like, what you brought up is such a good point. It made me realize the T for the SMART goals is not only that specific goal being like time measured and set,
Mhm.
it's then what's the next goal after that can be
Oh, yeah.
part of it. And I'm not saying jump ahead of, well, then
No.
after my first 10 pounds is this and that. But if the client's like, I want to lose 50 pounds, let's break that up into a treatment
Mhm.
plan and shorter doses of at what, and sometimes again, weight loss is contingent on a lot of other factors.
Correct.
Let's look at income, right? And business income. I want to make
Mm,
$100,000 this year. Okay, I like the manifestation woo woo side of
yeah.
it. Everybody knows I'm a big part of that.
All in.
But I also am a spreadsheets girly, and I'm like, how are we going to make that happen? How are
Mhm.
we going to match the manifestation and the planning and the energetic tone of I am made for this? I am making 100,000, right? Like all the mindset
Yeah.
work is part of the goal achievement. What happens when you get close to that? How do you
Mm,
want to push yourself to achieve it? And what if your goal for the year is 100K and you hit that in June? Are you going to keep the goal 100K?
yeah.
Are you going to double it? Like having it be realistic in
What does it
quarters.
look like?
Yes, have goals for yourself. This might be high achieving, but have goals for yourself daily, which could be
Yeah.
achievable ones. Wake up, make the bed, brush your teeth.
Mhm.
If you think of those as goals, you start to trick your brain
Oh,
and teach
yeah.
your brain into I match my goals. I set my goals and I match them.
Mm,
Have weekly goals for working out, for eating healthy, for seeing
yep.
friends, whatever it is. Monthly goals, cleaning out houses, this, that, like whatever it is to reset for the month or to have a wardrobe or goals in the gym,
Yeah.
making sure you have them not only time set for the goal, but overall, monthly, quarterly, annually, having those kinds of goals can help keep your mind in that
Yeah.
framework and that part of your brain functioning towards willpower. I can do this and look at me, I did, what's next? But so many people are so focused on everything next after the goal they haven't even
Mm,
achieved yet, they become paralyzed in a way because they're not accomplishing any of it. And all of it is a great fantasy, especially for us who are neurodivergent. I think that I've done something and my brain is like, you did it. So I lose the motivation
yep.
sometimes to go do it. But if I have the goal, the list,
Mm,
and if I was mentioning you off air, someone to ask for help, that can also be part of a goal achieving. If
oh,
you know that you
absolutely.
will go to the gym 4 days a week, if you have a trainer and they'll fine you $50 if you don't show up,
Mm,
then guess what your new setup is to make this goal happen?
correct.
You got to pay to play. So sometimes people are too lofty in what they can do by themselves, meaning they
Mm,
don't think to ask for help or they force themselves to do it all on their own. We can go much farther in life if we have a team and support. I did all the podcast
mhm.
stuff on my own for years because I
Oh,
didn't have
yeah.
a partner or a kid. There's no way without sacrifice, the
Mm,
things that matter too much for me to sacrifice, I could do all that again. Just
correct.
because you've done it all or you've met a goal a certain way in the past doesn't mean one of the best ones
It's
I've
not
met.
yeah, it doesn't it's not perpetually viable.
No,
It's
and
not
the way you climb the
indefinitely
mountain the
viable.
first time or the first mountain is not the way you
Mhm.
climb the second mountain. I read a book on that. I
Correct.
forget the name of it, but it was something about the second mountain, and one of my coaches recommended it to me. The way I'm building my business now, again, after having a baby and going
Mm,
through a divorce and everything else, is not going to be the same as it was before because I don't
no,
want that life. Do I miss
correct.
some of it? Yes, but
Of
I can
course.
achieve some of those goals without the same grind. Back then, I liked to grind.
Mm.
I was up at like 5 a.m., home at
Oh,
9
yeah.
p.m., this, that, like I was making a
Well, your why's changed,
yes,
right?
yes, yes.
Like,
My why and my whys changed. Absolutely.
and that should naturally be something that you're looking at in your year
That
as
should
you're
drive the
moving
goal
through.
for your year 2. Why?
Yeah.
What is the purpose that I want for this year? And what are my words, core
Mhm.
values before we wrap up? That's what I wanted to highlight too. Pick 3 to 5 words for your year
Mhm.
that you want to embody and manifest and live your life according to. Whether that's
Mhm.
abundance, patience, I don't know. What are some of the words that you would want to live towards next year?
Straight one, the first one came to it's harmony, right? That's the thing that I'm
Love
like
it.
I'm fighting for right
I
now,
want peace
is
and harmony.
I'm looking to have harmony, and so just like I love how you just said it because we both know that our lives can be chaotic at times. Like peace and harmony, I'm not looking for like the hallmark response.
Right.
Okay, I'm looking for that homeostasis of I enjoy the life that I'm living. Right. It
Yes.
doesn't mean that it's free of challenge. Doesn't mean that
No.
I don't have days that I want to pull my hair out.
Right.
That's not what I'm shooting for, but I am now looking at injecting my levels of influence into having a life that's representative of myself.
Mhm.
And that also sometimes so a business psychology term that like keeps popping in my head is hire slow, fire fast.
Yes.
That terminology actually still works and
Yes.
applies to an individual life, right?
Yes, it does.
When you are looking at implementing something new in your life, do it slowly, do it
Mhm.
diligently, do that introspection of, is this something I want for myself? But the second that that behavior is no longer helpful or that task is not bringing you joy, fire it, move on. Like, so many times we almost like drag around the corpses of our poor decisions for the year because we won't just actually drop it. You said you wanted that thing, but that's not actually what you wanted.
In summary, make sure the goal that you want is for yourself and what you actually want. Then implement the does this align with my core values words for the year, in what
Yep.
way? Then make it the SMART goal
Mm-hmm.
and keep yourself accountable by having a support system or some sort of other system, whether that's technological or human,
Yeah.
helping you implement that and have it
Mm,
come true. And once it's complete, then set your next
correct.
goal. And if you see yourself getting close to accomplishing it, this is where that advice that I give all of my clients, it's not that you need to change strategy, you need to have more patience, see it through
Correct.
till the end, then you ratchet up and work to the final boss of the video game. And it's a cool
Yeah.
spot to be at. I know you and I relate on this. Looking back at the last, I would say, gosh, since we started because you had just recently found out the first pregnancy when we right before we started, or no, right after we started, right? Years ago. We started
We
at
were so yeah, when we actually started, Jill was no, you're right.
no,
She wasn't pregnant on the first episode. It was like the third or
yeah,
fourth we discovered that she was pregnant.
yes, yes. And then shortly thereafter, I found out I was pregnant.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So you like look at the growth we've had the last 3 years,
Absolutely.
and thinking of it like, yeah, it has actually been 3 or 2 to 3, but we never would have I never would have thought all of these goals would come true, and so many things in my life and
Correct.
business came true. I'll share like on the metaphysical level, I set
Yeah.
so many goals for my career from grad school in the private practice management class because
Mm-hmm.
I was going to be a cop. I was going to quit being a therapist and be a cop. I was like at the last leg of it. I've talked about this in a lot of episodes. So my private practice management class, I put a bunch of bullshit goals because I'm like, I'm not going to do this job. Who cares? I beat those goals within 6 months of being on my own.
Yeah.
Because it was like, make it as lofty as you want because I'm not going to do this job for a while. And I was like, oh fuck, like manifestation is really powerful.
Oh
But
yeah.
right
It's amazing
before,
what you're capable of when you unleash yourself.
because I had 6 seasons of Between Two Clinicians on my own,
Yeah.
finding guests. I said, I'm burnt out. Adam, I need your help. I want to do this. We're buddy, like, let's do this. And we started it. And right then I told you, like, I hit every goal I had ever wanted in business. I hit retirement goals. I hit this, I hit that. Like, at very young, too, I was like, what's next? And the universe has ears because I was pretty much burnt out in business. I won all the awards, the this, and all of it. Like, having it again happen so young, I wasn't prepped. And then I looked at it and I was like, oh, and then I found out I was pregnant. And I'm like, well, the universe is now having that be my new goal. So I leave you with I'll leave all of you with this as we wrap. Be very intentional about the goals that you are setting and what you put out
Correct.
there in the universe, because there are ways God, universe, spirit, whoever you believe in, will surprise you with when you speak those things into existence of, here are all the goals. I've done everything I want in business. What's next? That wasn't specific enough. I should have said, what's next in my business? I just put it out there of what's the next
Mm-hmm.
project. And Gus was like, here you go. Here's new life. So be very mindful of how powerful you can be once you really do tune into your intuition and your manifestation. The sky
Oh
really
yeah.
the limit when you think about it. These goals, again, that structure you
Mm-hmm.
just mentioned a few minutes ago is great. On a deeper plane, this can lead to so much success in all areas of your life because you're putting your mind to it and believing in it, and you watch it come true. The last step I will say on that list I forgot to add, then I will really shut up, is be appreciative. Whatever you
Absolutely.
appreciates, when you start noticing the universe delivering on what you made a deal with it for, say thank you more, please. Thank you, I see that abundance. Thank you, I see this. Thank you, I
Yep.
see that. And recognize it and appreciate it, because you will get it back tenfold. That is my other
Absolutely.
last minute advice for. goal setting, is appreciate when you start to see it come true.
Your year is going to be whatever it is if your words and your actions meet together.
Yep, your year is what you make of it. It will be a new year if you are a new you. That's the episode title.
Boom. All right, we out of here. Enjoy your drives to work, your kids napping, however you're listening to us. We appreciate you, and we want you to have a wonderful day.
And we'll see you next time.
See ya.
Thank you so much for listening to another episode of Between Two Clinicians. We would so appreciate if this episode resonated with you, for you to share it with somebody, and also find your favorite podcast platform and like, rate, and subscribe to the podcast. We would love to attract more listeners just like you and have this message be spread to whoever needs it. So thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.